All right. Well, we got a new mic. I don't know if it's working all that well yet. Let's see here. Yeah, I think it's all right. Man. More of the same today. More of the same. Bench press and some LTEs. And might be good to note. So here soon. I mean, if this wasn't boring enough, or well, I don't know. Maybe you don't think it is, but the me changing up the programming will happen soon, as far as doing a little bit more than benching. So I'm gonna ride this out, I think, for the rest of the year, basically. But the goal here, as we approach the new year and get into the new year, is going to be getting back to pressing, and also getting back to pulling from the floor a little bit. I'm not going to be able to squat, but so but I really don't want to push the shoulder too quick. So so right now it's pretty boring, but my specialty, if you will, certainly what I focus more on is my bench press. But right now, that's magnified, like I said, because of the shoulder, which is feeling good. Pressed a little bit with the empty bar the other day, and that feels really good. So hopefully that'll continue. All right. So we're only working up to 207.5 today. Nothing crazy. By no means crazy. And then we'll get some LTEs and keep going, see how they feel. Oh man, how are you guys doing out there today? I'll tell you, my daughter was pushing me today. Boy, I'll tell you what, I shouldn't say it like that. I was having a hard time keeping my cool today with my daughter. So before here in just a couple days, or excuse me, about a week. She's the 3rd of December, so it's coming up. And as one of my clients has said a few different times, it's not the terrible twos. She said from 2 to 6, they're just assholes. And obviously that's saying that with some humor, but man, I would say she's harder than she was when she was 2. And my son will be 2 this month, and he is, you know, that age is actually a little easier to deal with in my book. I'm surprised more people don't do this streaming thing, the YouTube thing. And maybe they do, they just don't make it public. Because I was kind of thinking, this is a great way to essentially keep a logbook, video diary of your lifts that you can then come back to. And so it's almost better, in a lot of ways, it's better than writing it down. You kind of actually go back, watch bar speed, because the one thing you find often is that the perceived difficulty is far higher than the actual difficulty in moving the weight. And what I mean is, when you compare how something feels to how how much bar speed there is. And so for the squat, the guy says, man, last couple reps were like 9 out of 10, bro. 8 out of 10, whatever. I don't know if I can go up, but if I'm looking at it and the speed of the rep, it's good, it's solid, especially relative to the first few reps of that set. Well, then, I'm inclined to think, well, maybe you're just feeling a little rough today, because the bar speed is that's the proof, right? Proof's in the pudding. The bar speed is the pudding. And so if it's looking fast, which you cannot tell when you're under the bar, you cannot really tell how fast it's moving. I mean, I guess if, obviously with something like and I guess, yeah, as I'm thinking about it, more so I suppose that's going to mostly be the squat. I guess you could make an argument that you could see in the deadlift, you could see in the press to some extent, although once it's above your eyes, it's pretty well out of view. Bench press, you get a good solid view of, I suppose. Those you can be a little bit better with, but the squat, man, in a lot of ways, I don't really care how it feels, because that only tells a small portion of the story, right? Yeah, and so you get a lot of guys, if they're not recording themselves, you find it really hard to program for yourself, because you don't have the ability to watch the bar speed. So I'm trying to be very methodical, best I can. It's not so. If you think less about how long of a pause and more about coming to a complete stop, you'll be much better off. Because if you stop for, let's say you pause, quote unquote pause, for 3 or 4 seconds, but then let's say actually you never really came to a stop down there at the bottom, but you were kind of bouncing the bar a little bit, or you're in the squat and you're kind of bouncing. Well, you'd be better off to have a shorter pause, but actually come to a dead stop. I mean, once the bar stops, you've now obviously the longer you're there, the harder it's going to get. But you're looking for to take away the stretch reflex, right? You're looking for the stretch reflex to be less of a factor, and so you have some actual rebound, but then you also have the brain kind of signaling, hey, you know, we're doing the down, we need to get ready to do the up, and so the signals are sent. So you want to take that out because the brain is actually saying, hey, get ready to work harder to get this to reverse course here of the bar. Get ready to work hard, and you take that out by the pause, makes the rep harder. But if you just come to a dead stop, you're probably doing just fine. Probably doing just fine. And so it's cool. Maybe might look cool for the gram or whatever to pause for longer, but you're not necessarily doing anything for yourself anymore than just coming to a dead stop and that be it. But to each their own. To each their own. Oh, yeah. So I got this mic. A client of mine has a Photoshop camera shop here in Columbus, and gave me a great deal to do video audio stuff. Awesome guy. Midwest Photo here in Columbus. Can't imagine they'd give you a discount if you said you heard their name being shouted out. But if you're looking for some solid stuff, audio, visual, audio, visual stuff, check them out if you're in the area. All right, so what are we at here? 195. We're trying to cook through today. I want to get done. Not feeling it today. A little bit under the weather, although feeling better after the weekend. Yeah, moving well. Oh man, methodical, as methodical as I can be. Get set up, hold that position, engage the lats to kind of help me keep my elbow positioning as I get to the bottom. Thanksgiving weekend. Thanksgiving week, I should say. hopefully you guys are safe and get with family this year. Make sure you eat. It's a nice excuse to just smash the food so you can get big and strong, right? The lifting's one thing, but the lifting without the eating and the sleeping is well, it's not a great use of your time, I guess I'd say. I know I'm gonna get. I think I'm gonna probably start working to add weight. And kind of give up on the idea too much anyway of trying to get the state bench record. I just don't know if it's, you know, I just I'm getting strong. I've gotten very strong in the body that I have. Staying around this weight, um, and it's cool. It's cool to be as strong as I am at this weight, but frankly, I want to get bigger, and not eating to get bigger, just and trying to kind of eat in order to in a way that keeps me within this roughly the same range, body weight range is just kind of now. And I suppose it's important to note as well with the shoulder being bummed up, I have not really been able to train real hard anyway, and so all that eating, you know, might necessarily wouldn't be necessarily going to the areas I wanted to go, but I don't know. I've often thought 160, 165 would be pretty insane. I mean, remember, I'm 5'2", 5'3", so very short dude. So 160 pounds on my frame would probably look pretty nice, look pretty gnarly, and also probably wouldn't put it too much extra stress on my left leg. Do have to be careful with that. Carrying around extra weight on the prosthetic is something I need to be mindful of. All right, last quote unquote warm up. Shoulders tucked. I'm going to try to bend the bar to engage my lats. I'm kind of thinking about bending the bar this way, rotating just a bit to try and engage the lats a bit. What you don't really want is this kind of opening up of that angle on the way up. You want to avoid that as best you can. Just long term, it's not great for the shoulders. A little bony process on the front of the shoulder there, and so you get the tissues, rotator cuff muscles and tissues and such in that area. Repetitive opening up on the way up. Just rubbing all that against that little bony process, and long term it can be pretty problematic. Excuse me. So you want to try to avoid that. You engage the lats. So the lats are going to be kind of working that. Fucking hell. Someone's car alarm. I keep thinking it might be mine. I hope not. All right. Now to get the easy curl bar or the LTEs. Oh man, Thanksgiving. Oh, crazy end of the year for me and the wife. Well, Thanksgiving. Daughter's birthday's on the 3rd of December. We'll have Christmas. My son's birthday's on the 28th of December. The New Year's. Fuck. It's all good, but it's busy stuff. And then I'm right now kind of. This is what's the date today? The 21st or something like that, right? So I got me some plans. Beginning of the year, I'll be out of the gym, going on my own. Most of really trying to grab a little chunk of the virtual coaching pie. Start my own thing. Be home with the wife and the kids. Homeschooling the kids. A little homesteading. Doing that whole deal. So it's exciting as I kind of wrap up. It's been a wild couple of years, man. And being here at the gym here in Columbus, starting strength has been a real blessing. But I want to try to start building something of my own. Build into the kind of lifestyle that my wife and I want, which is not extravagant, but rather more free time, family time, and such. Kind of do as we'd like, live our lives as best we can. A lot of stress right now, which is, don't underestimate the amount of stress you're dealing with outside of the gym and how it impacts you. All right, 5 reps, work set. All right, that's it. And that did not feel real solid, but I don't know. We'll see when I go watch it back. I think it was okay, but yeah. Felt a little bit just kind of like I wasn't properly set up on the bench, but I don't know. We got him. Oh man. Yeah, so I'll be leaving the gym, focusing on my own kind of, taking a chance as an entrepreneur, right? And which I never really thought would be the case, but COVID, all that shit really did change the landscape quite a bit as far as the norm. So it's interesting. But I think the iron is hot now with anything virtual. And so I'm gonna see if I can take advantage of it. And carve out a little slice of heaven for my wife and I. But yeah, it's cool. I have even a little more time to do silly shit like this, which has been a nice little bit of reprieve, frankly. So we'll just do the basic warm-ups we've been doing. 5 or so reps maybe on these first couple. And we'll see if we can't get a nice juicy tricep pump after this. Which won't be that juicy, but I definitely already feel a little bit of blood clump to the tries here, so that's always fun. Oh, it's always fun. Yeah, and you'll notice with these, just like I mentioned before, I'm not doing a whole lot of resting in between these warm-up sets. The whole point is to get warm. And so, and with the weight being submaximal, you don't need to take much time. All right, so what do we got? 30, 95. What are we doing? 107. Just a couple. Yeah, my buddy of mine was watching some of these first couple streams I've done, and was talking about the kind of snorting, clearing my throat. My fucking allergies are brutal, dude. all the time, all year round. It's always a nuisance. So won't be much I can do about that, unfortunately. But we'll see. We'll see if it drives anybody away, or hell, maybe it brings someone in. You never know what people are into. We're doing 2 sets per usual, somewhere between 8 to 12. Whatever I can muster up. Um, might turn them into rest pause, depending on where I get. So the rest pause. Wait, is that right? Rest pause. Nice. Yeah, I'm having a bit of a brain fart here. As I say that out loud, that doesn't seem right. But you going for, let's say you try to do, well, it doesn't really necessarily matter what the rep range is, but let's say you're short of it, or you're trying to go to failure. You, whatever rep number that ends up being, 7, 8, 10, 20, whatever. As soon as you're unable to get that last rep, set the bar down, rest, not too long, a handful of seconds, and then see if you can squeak out any more. So, again, different ways to skin a cat, but that's a pretty solid approach if you're trying to really maximize motor unit recruitment. Hello. All right, come on, baby. One more. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Oof. Damn. I forgot to put the belt on. So it's not bracing. Not bracing as well as I should have been. Oh, man. The lack of brace means an increase in spinal shape changing. The brace is what solidifies the position of our spine. And so it's very important. If you're not bracing well at all, whatever it is, you start to feel that a little bit. And I was definitely getting into some pretty serious overextension down in here. Which is, whatever. It's not great, but I won't die. Plenty of people do silly shit with their backs and whatnot, and it's all right. Most of the tweaks and shit you find with back, a lot of that comes with some sort of rotation. So, that's really what you gotta. A lot of times it's not so much. Even massive amounts of flexion in the deadlift. I'm not saying you should, have that or pursue that. But a lot of times, it's not really so much about even a bunch of flexion. I guess it kind of, it's not about picking up the lawnmower that hurts your back. It's picking it up and twisting it to try and throw it in the back of the truck. Right, so you get that compression, you get that load on the spine mixed with some sort of rotation, that twist, and then that's where a lot of times you fall into trouble. So we'll try not to do that today. That's why you see a lot of guys. Certainly, I see a lot of clients that they'll get little back tweaks from time to time, and a lot of it is doing really just basic stuff around the house. Emptying out the dishwasher, but it's just this idea of kind of putting a little bit of load. It's not much, just by you bending over, but there's a little bit there, and then twisting. It's like and especially if you've had any kind of history of back issues in general. Oof, I need to rest a little longer. It was 3.5. Still a little bit winded. Let's give another 90 seconds. So that right there is a great. It's a great little real world example of, when you're strength training, and this is, look, 8 to 12 reps wouldn't traditionally be what I would necessarily consider strength training, although for the more isolated movements, you want to increase the volume some for sure to kind of really get good work done in the area. But when you're training, and especially with strength training, which is the weight on the bar is the key component to your progression. I.e., I need to lift X amount on Monday so that I can lift X amount plus 5 on Wednesday, so that I can lift X amount plus 10 on day 3. You need that stimulus. If you're not getting that stimulus, you're not going to adapt and then force the body to get stronger. So you need, and so if you miss reps simply because you're like, I don't want to rest any more than a minute, well, you're going to miss a lot of reps resting for that short of time when the weight is heavy, right? 135, sure, you can probably get away with resting for less than a minute, frankly. But when you're starting to get into 315, 405, whatever, et cetera, if you're not resting enough in between sets, and thus failing reps, you're not doing yourself any favor. And so I always tell the clients, the timer is not there to tell you when you're ready. It's there to tell you how much time has passed. And depending on how much time has passed, you may or may not be ready, right? So I set it for 3.5. When that thing goes off, I'm, no way. Still catch my breath a bit. Heart's still a little more elevated than I want, heart rate. So I'm going to chill out because I don't want to get 6 or 7 reps on this second set when I could have gotten 10, 11, or 12. But what stopped me was inadequate rest. That's a silly way to do it, in my opinion. And I think you'll find your results suffer when you don't take that into account. All right. Come on, baby. One more. Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it. A little bit of rest added on there at the end was that was the deal. That was the deal. All right. All right, so do some chins. If we can bust any out. Clients will be here pretty soon, so we'll see how much time I got. Yeah, so there's another. That felt hard. That felt really hard. And then, it's just a matter of I'm still so worn out from the last LTE set there that it's hard. That's okay. So we're not going to get a lot of rest, I don't think. What is it, 5 till 4? A lot of times my clients are technically due in at 4:15, but a couple of them show up early, which is all good. So we'll see what we can get done. But I'm not going to be able to rest. There we go, going back to calling the kettle black, huh? I'm not going to be able to rest as long as I'd like to in between these. But it is what it is. It's not, almost never is it the case that life, where things are going to be optimal. It's just, that just doesn't typically happen. Life is, we are given what we are given, and so you do the best you can with it. Case in point. my dear friend and client Peter. I just saw his car pop in. So, one set of chins is all it will be today. 20 pounds of weight. I think I got 10 there. But, I've been getting a decent bit of views on these so far. And I appreciate it. I'm going to try to clean these things up. But thanks for taking the ride. Thanks for joining another good session in the books.